Hello everyone, my name's FlareBlitzed here and welcome back to Remembrance with our three wonderful characters in this tale. Now let's see what's going to be going on this time around. Oh yes, we just conquered the second tower of Remembrance. Kim? Hey, what you thinking about? Sorry, I was trying to process the memories I've recovered, but there's something else I want to discuss before that. Ashley, shouldn't the sensation of detachment have faded away by now? You said it stopped once we activated the tower, didn't you? I never said that. What? Do you think you could just process your severe trauma in an hour or two and then be on your merry way? As if. That blank's permanent, Kimbo. Get used to it. Are you serious? As serious as a cancer diagnosis? You. How dare you do something like this? It's because of your influence that Kim has ended up in this dismal state. I demand you revert it at once. Is your understanding of psychology actually that simplistic? You can't revert dissociation any more than you can revert the trauma itself. Besides, you're the one who acts like it takes nothing more than hugs and kind words to cure emotional trauma and major mental illnesses. If it's truly that simple, then why not prove it by curing Kim's trauma and dissociation right now? Should be easy, shouldn't it? Go ahead, Jesse. Cure her. Oh, right. You can't. You just treat the symptoms without doing anything about the underlying cause, which doesn't solve anything. Don't worry, dear. I'm here to save you by enabling all of your copying techniques. Face it, if trauma were that easy to overcome, your creator never would have made this little wonderland of yours in the first place. Of course, that plan turned out to be almost as much of a miserable failure as they are. Now, didn't it? How dare you! Will you both just shut the hell up? Seriously, you've been bickering like this the whole time and I'm getting really sick of it. I'm almost stressed out and exhausted enough as it is from this second flood of bad memories from the tower, to say nothing of getting mauled by crawlers. And now I'm grappling with the fact that I'll have to spend the rest of my life with this dissociation blunting the few emotions that I could feel. I just can't deal with this blank right now, okay? Shouldn't that be rest of my death rather than the rest of my life? Fine, I'll cut it out. For now. I apologise, Kim. I let her words upset me without thinking. Please forgive me. I'm sorry too. I didn't mean to snap at you. I think I should sit down and rest for a few minutes if that's okay. If I try to keep going like this, I'd probably collapse like last time. You don't need permission. You've more than earned a respite. Just when I got warmed up. But I know it can't be helped, so don't even open your mouth, Jess. I'll wait. Thank you, Ashley. Kim, there's something important I've been itching to tell you about. But Miss Goody Goody has been breathing down my neck from the moment I got here. And then she absolutely flipped her blank if I so much as mention any of this stuff around her. I've not had a good enough opportunity to bring it up. So I'll just speak directly into your mind while you're sleeping, and you'll eventually subconsciously remember everything I told you when you wake up. Pretty cool trick, huh? Anyway, I'll get to the point. Your mission is dead in the water. I don't know what sort of blank Jess has been feeding you, but the fact of the matter is there's no saving this place. Not at this point. This place is completely, irredeemably rotten. Comparable to a festering open wound or a blackened necrotic limb. It's dying in other words. Think about it. Once you activate all of the lamps and towers, what do you think is going to happen to the crawlers? The light from those hope structures doesn't destroy or even damage them. It only repels them, pushes them away. You know that, don't you, Kim? Unless you yourself go kill them all, there'll still be countless thousands upon thousands of them crawling about. It'd only be a matter of time before the lamps started burning out again due to their interference, no? And if all the lamps were active when the crawlers first started appearing, in what way does merely turning those lamps back on solve the problem? For that matter, don't you find it suspicious how the Diamage didn't reactivate the lamps on their own? It's not like they can't do it. It is suspicious how they've just let the crawlers run rampant. Isn't it suspicious how you haven't seen any of the people you're supposedly saving? Have you considered, Kim, that the Diamage has either given up on this place entirely, or is in denial about the sheer extent of their failure? Have you considered, Kim, that everything you've been led to believe since waking up here might be complete and total rubbish? Have you considered, Kim, that the only reason they summoned you here is because they royally blanked things up and don't have the guts to admit it? Oh no, this mess isn't an accident. It's all just part of my grand plan. It's the prophecy. Yeah, that's it. It's the prophecy of the Chosen One. Why would all-powerful gods need to rely on lowly humans to solve their problems? How does anyone buy that? It's such an obvious lie. And yet, they try to pull the same blank every single time. How could anyone take this seriously? It's so stupid. And you're laughing about it now. Really now? Who do they think they're fooling with this stuff? Oh boy, that always cracks me up. I should explain. This isn't the first time I've been drawn into a place that just as supreme deities created. Umbra, or the Diamage keeps making these small pockets of space-time for all of their assigned little projects. But because Umbra is abysmal at their job, these projects fail miserably more often than not, and the pockets end up stagnating and rotting. But rather than calling it quits and having their partner, Melancholia, the Extirpator, clean up the mess, they opt for this Chosen One stuff. If by some miracle the poor sap they choose actually manages to delay the collapse of their plan, they just keep going, ignoring the systemic problem. Otherwise, they'll bail the Melancholia, don't know how to pronounce that, chalking the failure of their hero up to it being the end of times and leaving behind a patch of necrosis. Necrosis I'm obligated to erase, lest it spread throughout existence. They do this over and over and over. Your mission is nothing more than the latest iteration of this cycle. It's a pity that Umbra dragged you into all of this. You probably just want to rest in peace after your death, as is your right. Same goes for Jess. I guarantee you the bulk of her uptight xenophobic behaviour is because of Umbra. It's a shame, really. But anyway, I bet you I can guess what you're thinking about all of this, or what you would be thinking if you were awake right now. That is, how can I trust you, Ashley? How can I be sure you're not just trying to manipulate me? You can't. Frankly, I don't give a damn whether you trust me or not. None of this has anything to do with me after all. I'm not here to play Umbra's games. But I respect your moxie, Kim. So I felt you deserved to hear at least a little bit of the truth beforehand, instead of getting blindsided by it. And in any case, I figured you'd rather listen to me yammer on for a bit than have another trauma nightmare about a crawler chowing down on you. Isn't this just the equivalent to that, Ashley? I'll leave you to your sleep now. Talk to you soon. Hehehe. I've yet to trust Ashley. But of course, there's always some evil in good, and some good in evil. Oh, right. I dozed off outside of the second tower. Hello, Jessie. Hello there, dear. How are you feeling? Did you sleep well? Actually, yeah. I slept great. I don't feel that dissociated anymore either. Though, I have this uneasy feeling in the pit of my stomach about something I can't quite place. Oh, sheesh. Is Kim finally awake? I am, yeah. Sorry for the wait. For some reason, I feel like I should thank you, Ashley. I wonder why that could be. Hehehe. Got something you want to say, Jess? Don't tell me you think I did something to Kim in her sleep. I never dare do such a... Besides, Jess was looking at Kim the entire time. So how could Ashley do something? In fact, you could even say that I've never dreamed of it. Yeah, dream. That's the key word in this, dream. A psychological attack. If you make any more lousy puns, I'll probably start having nightmares about them. Not bad, Kimbo, not bad. Still, I thought you said that the dissociation was permanent. Not that I'm complaining about it fading away. Oh, it's still there. It's like anything else with the human psyche. It comes and goes based on your stress, physical health, your diet, the current circumstances, etc. I'm kind of surprised you don't already know that, Kim, considering all of the traumatic stuff you've been through. Have you never dissociated before? Never to the extent, but I was while going through the tower, no. But thinking back on it, I definitely had that feeling before. I've had it a lot, actually. I like all this talking, actually. Wait, how do you know that I was traumatized by something in the past? Call it an educated guess. After all, you did tell us the tower dredged up some repressed memories just before you fell asleep. Besides, it's written all over you. With what your sunken eyes and your jumpiness and your somber, prickly personality. Why did you think I decided on the nickname Madame Gloomy? But enough about that. I'm sick of waiting around this place. Let's get this show on the road already. Kim is free to take as much time as she needs to recuperate before we proceed to the next tower. Please don't start, you two. I'm ready to go, so let's go. Aye, girl. Yeah, let's just... After much hardship, I have again made my escape from that maze of a most peculiar character by way of your valuable assistance. My thanks to you, travellers. No problem. As per my previous statement to you, I will give you this offensively natured equipment. May this armament serve you well against the living darkness. Received the trident of power. Rook is no longer following your party. Farewell. May our paths cross again. I have a feeling that somehow we will. He vanished into thin air. Well, then again, I guess that's part of the course at this point. It certainly is indeed. Trident of power. A strange trident that trims with energy. Okay, I think you cannot unequip or equip anything. It's just like a permanent feature. So we've got a trident of power, which is good. So what else does it do for our endeavours? Request information. We can't because there's no enemies. Touch Jess in order to reanimate her. Reanimate? That makes her sound like she's a zombie or something. Or maybe that's part of the lore. Maybe Jess isn't even human. Actually, Jess isn't even human. So, the term reanimate isn't entirely misconceiving. What's up, Kimbo? I'm not sure. Something feels off. Yeah, you're right. The path is actually straight for once. Heh. Well, you're not wrong. Jokes aside, I feel like there's this energy in the air. It's making my hair stand on end. What do you think, Jesse? Is this a sensation of a headache? This is terribly unpleasant. Oh, I'm sorry, Kim. I didn't hear what you said. Did you ask me something? Is everything alright? There's this uncomfortable feeling of pressure inside of my head that's making it very difficult for me to focus on anything. Wait, you have a headache? Okay, there's definitely something strange going on around here. Nothing new there, am I right? If you say so. We're still turning these things on regardless of what our friend says so otherwise. Settlement other towers. A settlement? I'm guessing that this is where everyone else on the surface has been this whole time. Yes, that's correct. I'm certain that residents here will be very enthusiastic to meet you, especially since you've eliminated 2 of the 3 towers at this point. You say that, but all of these lamps around the perimeter are inactive, so I can't help but think that... Then what, Kim? Finish your sentences. That the crawlers might have already come through here and attacked all of the residents. Please pardon my saying so, but I sincerely hope you're mistaken. It is a pressing matter by the fact that none of these lamps were active before our arrival, and the outer ones can't be activated. Such as it is in a day's work. Ooh. This place does feel a little desolated. Well, there's no one in sight. I guess they might be hiding indoors. Yes. Yes, that must be what it is. Are you sure about that? Hehehe. We can check inside the buildings if you want, Jess. I don't mind. Jessie, I'd greatly appreciate that, dear. Now it's our friend with the trauma. Look like there's no one home. I wasn't able to find anyone either. Same here. I'm unsure if this is an appropriate time and place for this, but I have a request for you, Kim. Wait, really? Sure, what is it? Would you please tell me about the memories you've remembered after you activated the 2nd tower? I've been terribly curious to hear about them. Oh, sheesh, yeah, the tower memories. I've almost forgotten about that. You should share them with us. There's no point in trying to keep them all bottled up at this point after all. I don't know. They're really not nearly as interesting as you two seem to think they are. Oh, but I still know so very little about your Earth, and similarly little about your past life there. I must confess I find myself endlessly curious to learn more about you, dear. You're already that interested in me. You know, if you two need a room to yourselves, this whole building is full of them, so spare me, would you? Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked here. Hurry up and tell us about what you remembered, Kim. Well, if both of you are that curious about it, I suppose I can at least share a little bit. After I activated the 2nd beacon, I had another sudden vivid flashback that picked up pretty much right where the first one left off. More specifically, I remembered everything from the end of middle school up through high school, college, and the rest of my 20s. What is college? College is essentially the same as the other schools I mentioned, but for adults instead of children. There are 2 categories of memories, though, that stood out from the rest. The one about my friendships, and the ones about my relationships. Suffice it to say that the less pleasant the memories were, the more vividly I recalled them. As it is with the negative emotions. Actually, if you two don't mind, I'd like to go search some of the other buildings before I wade into all of these bad memories. I promise I'll tell you all of the details, I just need a little more time to process them beforehand. Is that okay? Of course, take as much time as you need to feel comfortable. That's fine by me too, as long as you keep your promise. Yes, I suppose that is the way forward through this settlement. As time goes on, we will have each and every bit of the stories that laid about from this time era. There's none here either. It appears not. Not that I could tell, no. Anyway, I believe you have some memories to share with us, yes? Or, excuse me, to share with Jess. You're really nosy, you know that. No, come on. Jess is the one who asked. I just want to hear about it too. Whatever. Friendships have been pretty much always been in short supply for me, since I'd been a target of bullying for so long. Most people kept their distance. I mean, it's not surprising, since at that point I was the weird kid who was always alone. Plus I imagine they didn't want to get bullied themselves. I'm not even going to get into the few times where some of the blanks who were bullying me pretended to be my friends just to take advantage of me. It was utterly stupid of me to think that they actually wanted to be my friends. That they were actually my friends, sorry. On the other hand, I did end up making friends with some of the other kids who were getting bullied and isolated. To be sure, they made all of our lives a little more bearable. But that's not to say that things weren't also rocky between us on top of everything else. It makes sense, right? When you have a bunch of stressed out kids with no outlets for their problems, they end up lashing out at each other. It still annoys me, that I never got an apology for some of the stuff they did though. For instance, that time where one of them humiliated me by making me out as an idiot and a blank so they'd look cool to this scumbag they were dating. All the time they butted in while a mutual friend and I were talking about our past and told us to shut the blank up because they had... I don't know why I thought of that. Hell is not a swear word. Because they had it much worse. All the time they got frustrated while the two of us were out walking in the woods and they ran off and abandoned me, fully aware that I'd get lost. In fact, that same person was behind the bulk of the treatment I got while in that friends group. They were also a blank to all of the others in that group, and never gave any of them an apology either. I mean, I fully admit that I also did some stupid hurtful stuff as a kid, but I'd always apologise and try to make it up to whomever after. This friend of mine, however, never even acknowledged any of it, despite calling me their best friend and even confessing later that they liked me. Honestly, what the hell? All you had to do was apologise sincerely for everything you did and we would have been fine. That's all I wanted. Easy there, Madam Gloomy. You don't have to shout. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realise I started shouting. I guess I'm just still sore about it. Even though it happened years ago, I tried to put it out of my mind so it never ended up getting resolved. I just tried to look past it, like I did with the other bullying. I didn't want to start a fight with what few friends I had, you know. I don't for a moment blame you for not wanting to lose your companions. Rather, I dare say you were exercising good survival instincts by putting aside your personal grudges to protect the integrity of your friend group. It sounds more like you lacked both the nerve and the self-respect to stand up to that annoyance of a friend and make them stop treating you like that. How could you say such a callous thing? Am I wrong? The accuracy or inaccuracy of your statement is not the problem here. It's okay, Jessie. In the end, she's not wrong. I was too weak and too scared to defend myself, even against my friends. If nothing else, I did cut ties with that person eventually. Once I'd stopped bothering with being friendly and were just a blank all the time. But despite all their I know how to say this word. Abrasiveness, it was hard to let them go. Or man, I butchered that. I mean, I've been close friends with them for well over a decade by then, you know. And for all the times they'd been abusive, there were dozens of others times when we'd had a blast together. And even after they turned into a completely different person, I can still see traces of that same friend of mine with whom I'd had so much fun with. Kim? Let's just go, please. More memories? Surely there's at least one more. I mean, there are a few buildings here. Yeah, the settlement does look quite abandoned. I'm not going to lie. I can't find anyone. Neither could I. Empty, just like the other ones. This is not good. I think the only thing I've not talked about at this point is my relationship history. Or to be more precise, my romantic relationship history. Oh, Kim the Heartbreaker. Hehehehe. Hardly. I didn't mean to do that. What is a romantic relationship? Well, it's like a friendship, but you and the other person like each other even more. And you want to be around each other all of the time, I suppose. Is that all there is to it, Kim? Are you sure you're not leaving out any defining features of romantic relationships in that description? You wouldn't want Jess here to have an incomplete understanding, would you? I suppose I should mention there's also a physical dimension to them. Human instincts and such, you know. I see. What's the matter, Kimbo? There's nothing embarrassing about simple human instincts, is there? Anyway, that's just the idea. My love life, like I said, was a mess. Or, well, I suppose most of my relationships probably would have been okay had I not been blanked up so badly by my first one. Did something bad happen during your first relationship? You could say that. But don't let me give you the wrong idea. The first several months of it were heavenly. In all honesty, I fell completely in love with her. It wasn't until around 8 or so months into the relationship that things really began to take a turn for the worse. It started with her insisting that we always meet up at her house. Before that point, she'd been happy to come over to my place or go out on a date somewhere in public. The sudden resistance on her part seemed a little odd to me even then, but I didn't mind hanging out at her place, so I didn't push the issue. At the time, however, I was having to share a car with my older sister, so I didn't always have transportation available to go over to her house. And even though she knew that there was nothing I could do about it, she started getting angry at me every time I couldn't go see her because of it. Being the doormat that I was, whenever she got upset with me, I immediately apologised and take the full blame, even when the problem wasn't my fault. This relationship followed hard on the heels of years of neglect, bullying and isolation after all, so I didn't have the spine to stand up for myself. Over time, she became more and more demanding of my time, insisting that I go over to her house all day, both Saturday and Sunday, every weekend. She'd get angry at me whenever I tried to, for instance, meet up with some friends or even just be alone for a day, and I'd fold under the pressure. Of course, it didn't stop there. Eventually, it was rare for me to be able to go to bed before she did. Thus, she sent me a message and I not reply. Also, she gradually stopped addressing me by my name, instead preferring to use the so-called nickname Idiot. It was just a joke, according to her, regardless of the fact that it never once made me laugh. Yeah, because a joke is meant to make another person laugh, not just yourself laugh. My anxiety, which had almost started to calm down before this relationship, became non-stop, and I felt completely powerless to do anything about it. Unsurprisingly, it wasn't long before that became a problem for her too. You see, as she became more demanding of my time, she likewise became more demanding of physical intimacy during our visits. It apparently didn't occur to her that I might not be emotionally ready for some of what she wanted to do. Either that, or she just didn't care. Get the words out of my mouth, please. And that's saying nothing of how that endless anxiety had completely suffocated my already weak drive by that point. Needless to say, there were many times when an intimate moment would fall miserably flat, and she just tear into me for not being into it. At one point, she just barely stopped short of accusing me of cheating on her, as if that somehow explained why I couldn't get. Funny enough, I found out later that she was the mistress of her next partner before that person dumped their SO and started dating her. I don't think she ever cheated on me, but in retrospect, I can see how she concluded that might be why I was struggling to be intimate with her. ESO is an abbreviation that stands for significant other. It's a phrase people use to refer to a serious romantic partner. In any case, after putting up with her abuse for too long, far too long, I finally reached my limit. Looking back, it was pretty telling how her response to me wanting to break up was to get angry at me rather than ask why or what's wrong. Between my frayed nerves and her yelling, begging, pleading, crying and guilt-tripping, it took much longer than it should have to end it. Despite all of that though, I still managed to break up with her. There was none of that on again, off again, stuff that she wanted either. It was over for good. Kim. Wow. Talk about an insecure blank. I can't believe you let her walk all over you like that for that long. You must have had even less self-respect back then than I thought. Must you be so blunt and antagonistic? That was clearly a time of significant hardship and duress for Kim. Could you not show her some sympathy? I'm not her therapist. Besides, she's a grown woman. Unlike you, I'm not going to insult her maturity by coddling her. It's fine, Jesse. There's no point in sugarcoating it. I mean, I've spent my entire life feeling sorry for myself and trying to forget these memories. Even now, despite knowing that the pain from them never actually went away, part of me still wishes I haven't remembered them. At the same time, it feels like I'm never going to get anywhere if I just keep trying to bury and hide from all of my mistakes, failures and trauma. So, if nothing else, I at least want to be able to acknowledge that it all happened, and to stop blaming myself for it and feeling ashamed about it. There may be hope for you yet. With that said, I wish I hadn't ended up hurting all of my other romantic partners because of my lingering anxiety and fears. Since I'd been conditioned to feel like I couldn't discuss any negative feelings about my relationships, I lock up with anxiety at every problem. What's more, since that conditioned response included the anxiety, it was extremely hard just to mention when I felt bad, let alone discuss the issue. Because of that, essentially all of my relationships after my first one were pretty short-lived. The fear, paranoia and anxiety would overpower me every time, and I'd snap under the oppression and just leave a relationship. I still feel awful about how much I ended up hurting them more due to my struggle to communicate my feelings. I know it wasn't my fault I ended up in that unhealthy emotional state, but they all deserve to be treated far better than that. We should get going. That sounds like a plan. All of this is a lot of dialogue in it, and I really like that. I like a game where you can just absorb the information in, rather than just battles. Nothing. All of these buildings are abandoned. This is very worrying. Are you still surprised at this point? This settlement is a ghost town. I'm sorry. Sorry? Sorry for what? There's something else I remembered I didn't tell you about, despite acting like I told you everything. I was afraid. I felt like I wasn't ready to talk about it, or that I was overreacting to what happened and should just not think about it. I was wrong. Very wrong. Like I said before, I don't want to run away from this anymore, if for no other reason than because I can't ever hope to escape it or outrun it. So, I'm willing to talk about it now, if you're still willing to listen. I just wanted to apologise beforehand. There's no need to apologise, dear. I told you before that you could take as much time as you needed, did I not? I'm more than willing to listen. Same here. I'm just glad you're actually going to tell us about it rather than continue trying to hide it. Thank you. The memory I admitted was of something that happened during that one romantic relationship I told you about before. It happened right at the very end during the last moment of the many long drawn out fights that consisted our breakup. It felt like she'd been going out of her way to make the breakup as long and stressful as possible, presuming in an effort to make me fall in line. She kept bragging and yelling and crying and guilt-tripping on and on, but I wasn't having any of it. I finally found my resolve, but then the mere thought of it is making me physically sick. Feel physically sick. Yeah, I'm not reading that out. At the time I was totally bewildered. All I could do was stammer out that, and she just gave me this nasty smirk in reply. Honestly, I have no idea what she thought that I was going to accomplish. Even if I was the idiot that she made me out to be, did she really think that? Yeah. I mean, here I am wanting to break up and she decides the best thing to do is that. What the hell made her think that was an okay thing to do? I put up with all of her blank for so long, and I loved her more than anyone else, and she thinks it's okay just to violate me like that. Is that all I was to her? Just some plaything that she thought she could abuse and control if she... that? Did she honestly have such a low opinion of me that she thought that would make me want to be with her again? Because of everything she did to me, I'm all blanked up in the head about that. She ruined all of it for me. Huh? How do you feel, Kim? I'm okay now, I think. I'm really sorry for flying off the handle like that. Can't say I blame you. Indeed, it's very much understandable. As you can see, what she did affected me pretty badly. Much more than I thought it did. After I broke up with her, I wanted to put the chapter of my life behind me, you know. So I did my best to forget about her and everything she did. I even convinced myself that what she did wasn't a big deal. It sounds so stupid in retrospect, but I somehow swept away the feelings by thinking, it's not... okay. Is that really any worse than the other blank she did? I completely managed to forget about those feelings even before I came here and lost my memory. I buried all of it very deeply. In a way, that incident was like a microcosm of all of the awful in that relationship. Looking back, the random episodes of nausea that I felt several times in other contexts makes a lot more sense now. After all, if what happened then was emblematic of the abuse as a whole in my mind, it makes sense that I'd feel revolted when reminded of it. I suppose that's all I have to say. Sheesh, you just can't catch a break. Yeah, you could say that again. Sheesh, you can't just catch a break. How could someone be so horrible to the person they claim to love? It pains me deeply to hear that you had to suffer through so many painful and violating things, especially without any emotional support. Thank you, Jesse. And thank you too, Ashley. Having both of you here listening to me ramble on about this has definitely helped me to feel a little better about it all. I'm also grateful for you I forgot how to pronounce this word. Coaxing me into talking about it, since I might not have opened up otherwise and instead would have just kept rammenting on about it. "My, you're ever so welcome, dear. Not a problem, Madam Gloomy." Well, I'm glad about that. And I'm glad that conversation's over. Yeah, I'm not reading all of that out loud. Just to say, hi, hail, travellers. Oh, hello again, Rook. I implore you, allow me to join you. As in, let you follow us somewhere like with the other two towers? I don't mind, but we're probably not going anywhere other than this tower. Plus, I've no idea where we'll be going after that, so you are mistaken. I wish to travel as an equal companion rather than merely trail behind, as I have done thus far. Wait, what? You have done me a great service twice over, and I have concluded that the gifts I bestowed onto you were not sufficient to convey my gratitude. As such, I have resolved to join your party properly and provide a direct service to assist you as a symbol of my thanks. Sure, why not? The more the merrier. How many times must I repeat myself? This is Kim's decision, not yours. Jesse, if you were any more of a pill, they'd put you in a bottle and sell you at a pharmacy. Come off it. You know just as well as I do that Kim will take any help she can get when fighting the crawlers. Unless she decides to decline Rook's offer just to prove me wrong. But that'd be an incredibly stupid move on her part. Anyway, Kim, what do you think? Considering the cool stuff he gave you, I bet you he packs a punch. Of course he can. Well, at the end of the day, Ashley isn't wrong. If you want to help us, Rook, you're more than welcome to come along. Superb. May our partnership transcend through it might be a fruitful one. Transient. Whatever one may level 1. What are you trying to make me out for? 750 attack. We just need Rook in our party. I'm not gonna lie. Gosh sakes, that is a big amount of scats. That again. What a strange feeling. It's like my mind's been torn away from my body. Are you alright, Kim? Yeah. It's just that feeling of dissociation again. For an instant, when I looked up the stairway, I was almost suffocated by a flood of anxiety, fear and nausea, just like in the last tower entrance. But then there was this feeling as though my mind got yanked back behind a hazy, clouded wall of glass away from all of my senses and emotions. The fear and anxiety are still there, but they feel so distant, like they're a million miles away from me. But that's not the important. Jesse, are there crawlers up ahead? Can you tell how many? I'm sorry, dear. This headache has gotten much worse as we draw near the tower. It's become severe enough at this point to impede my senses. Considering the resistance we've encountered inside of the last two towers, however, I believe we'll be similarly beset here. Relax. We made quick work for Big One at the top of the last tower, no? And wasn't that supposedly one of the strongest types of crawlers? And we've even got Mr. Top Hat here to give us a hand, isn't that right? I am called Rook, not Mr. Top Hat. I shall not permit the living darkness to obstruct your progress, the accuracy of your address notwithstanding. See? We'll be fine. Don't worry. If you say so, friend. Friend. Whom is it going to be this time? This is just one long alleyway. Hey, Jess. What do you want? Aw, don't be like that. I want to chat with you about emotional trauma in humans since Badimarj apparently did a below average job of explaining it to you. Why would I ever take your word over that of Badimarj? What makes you so sure that Badimarj's word is more reliable? Are you sure everything the Dynamites taught you was the full, unadulterated, unadulterated, unadulterated truth, and that they never omitted or altered anything? Besides, you're curious to learn more about ways you could potentially help Kim, aren't you? I suppose I can hear you out for Kim's sake. Excellent. What are you talking about back there? Nothing, nothing, hee hee hee. If you say so. No fights. Anyways, folks, I think we will leave it off here. I know it's been a tad shorter than the previous episode, but I don't want to get round to recording another one today. So thank you so much for watching, and see you all in the next time of Remembrance. Have a good day and take care of yourselves.